Hello, good morning. Welcome back to Hobby Evolution. We're at episode 560 after a true weekend from off of Hobby Hotline of Hobby Evolution. Did I say welcome to Hobby? I hope I didn't say. I was just watching the replay of Hobby Hotline from Saturday, so I've got a Hobby Hotline on my brain. It was a great show with John Newman, John Keating, and Dr. Jim Beckett. So I just wrapped up watching Hobby Hotline. This is Hobby Evolution. Welcome to episode number 560. We've got Herman. What's up, Herman? Landed safely back in Georgia last night. So we had an awesome weekend. Picked him up on Friday. We talked. You can watch the video from Friday night. We went live on Friday night talking about Bowman and ripping Bowman actually, and Dan Korean Cardboard joined us in the chat. We went on, or in the video, we went on StreamYard. So check that video out. Took Herman out for lunch to the Old Fashioned, which is like a Madison staple. I had to get him some Wisconsin cheese curds. Herman did have a spotted cow. I'll let him talk about what he had in Wisconsin tonight on Personal Rips and Hobby Chat with Ken tonight, 7:00 Central, over on 3B Collections channel. So it was a fun weekend. Not only did I get to meet Herman as Herman flew in from Georgia, I got to meet Victor here in the chat. Victor came up, stayed at the hotel at the Sheraton on John Nolan Drive, and I got to meet Kevin. Kevin showed off his 1969 Cubs autograph collection. He's only missing Alec Distasso. So if anybody has Alec Distasso in autograph, let me know and I'll get you in touch with Kevin because he's looking for that. And I shared that Alec Distasso, who passed away about 10 years ago, more than probably 15 years ago. He actually lived in the same small town small city that I lived in Macomb, Illinois. And I believe he had a son who was a pretty good high school baseball player around the time, or a few years before I was there, maybe. But he was a pretty private person. I know that he didn't do too many interviews. I worked at a newspaper. I actually wrote a column when he passed away. I'll try to find that column because I still have a few of those printed off in one of my binders, my work binders from my previous life in radio and newspaper. So yeah, he passed away probably around 2008, 2010, somewhere in there. But I don't think I have any Distasso autographs, and if I do, kind of like, and I think Kevin mentioned there's a lot out there, but most of them are on index cards. And I think if I do have a Distasso autograph, it might be on an index card, although I may have a 69 Topps autographed Alec Distasso. I don't know where it would be, but I'll have to if I ever come across it. But if anybody in the meantime has one handy and would like to sell it, Kevin is a buyer. So let me know and I can connect you to TD Sports Cards. What's up? Good morning to you. So Madison Card Show was this past Saturday. And I'll just start with the great stuff because I got to meet Herman, who flew in took a plane for the first time. And how cool is that? That after all this time, he jumps on a plane for the first time to come to Madison, Wisconsin for a card show. That means a lot to me because I know if you've never flown before, I fly and it's nerve-wracking experience. So I think that's super cool. Zach is in here. Zach and Porter came over. And we were able to chat. So I've actually met Zach and Porter one time before at the card show in Oak Creek, near Milwaukee. But it was a card show and we were able to, meet, talk for a little bit. We dug through some boxes for a little bit, but it wasn't like a sit down, let's talk. So me and Herman, Zach and Porter, we sat down after the card show ended in the the hotel restaurant bar area. Had a late lunch and just talked for an hour or so, and it was great. And I gotta say, I am super impressed, and Herman mentioned it too. Porter can hold a conversation like an adult, and as a very impressive. So Zach and his wife have done an amazing job. Porter is an awesome dude, awesome kid, and it was so much fun actually getting to sit down and talk some cards with Zach and Porter. Dan is with us. What's up, Dan? Michael is here. What's up? Good morning. Went from 700 to 1,300 listings last 2 days. Michael is on the Fujitsu train, and he's using Chrono Card. I haven't used Chrono Card in a while. I'm using File Exchange, but I'm pretty sure it's similar. I may dabble in Chrono Card just to check it out. It might be better than File Exchange. Herman says everything I eat while up had cheese on it. That's welcome to Wisconsin. Welcome to Wisconsin. So I got to meet Victor, as I met, and Kevin. Victor came up from Chicago, spent the weekend in Madison. Kevin came in from Indianapolis. Abraham was there. He lives here in the area. My buddy Scott came over from Dubuque, Iowa. He's got 15,000 Cubs cards that he's going to sort for me. Let's see. Who else am I missing? I know Kurt. I had three Twitter, hobby Twitter people set up in one of the rooms. Big Stank Card Art, which, by the way, his frickin' art is really, really cool. So he had a couple tables in the downstairs ballroom. His name's Chris. I had Big Stank Card Art on his name tag, and I'm like, what's your name? And then right next to him was Ryan, ripping one-handed. And then just on the other side was Denton True. And I wasn't even able to look at his table because there were people. His table was crowded the entire day. And I know Zach spent some time there. Zach and Porter spent some time at Kurt's table. Vintage, and he had some really cool vintage ticket stubs on his table. So it was, I hate when I start naming people off, and I know I'm going to forget people. So it was awesome to have those guys. I know Nick watches these videos. He's actually been a dealer with me for several months, going back to last year. So a great time, hopefully had by all. Also, I met a cousin for the first time. So it wasn't like a surprise cousin like my brother 10 years ago. It was so I moved here to Madison, and I actually 3 years ago, I didn't know who he was. Now I knew I had that side of the family. It's basically so his grandma would be first cousins with my dad. So like I knew his grandma, and I kind of knew his mom just from but they lived a couple hours away, so they weren't around too much. But I moved to Madison. Once I did the ancestry DNA thing, and there's a story in my family. This is like way off topic, but there's a story in my family that one of my great grandfathers actually saved Abraham Lincoln from drowning in a pond. Now, my family grew up in Kentucky. My family grew up. My ancestors are from Kentucky, like the Louisville area, which is where Abraham Lincoln grew up as a kid. It's got to be because they were little kids when this happened. So that's always been. Austin Gallahue was my ancestor's name, and that was always a story. And we would always, as like me and my cousins going through school, we would always share that story. And I think our teachers would probably give us the side eye. It's like, oh, this is just a big tale that has been passed through the generations. So I was doing, I did ancestry, and I'm going through all this, and I have a newspapers.com account anyway because I'm a nerd, and I'm gonna look this up on newspapers.com, see if there's anything going back. Sure enough, the Louisville News Courier or whatever, did a huge front page story in 1899. My great whatever grandfather, Austin Gallahue, lived to be like 101. And I think when he was getting up there, and I think he was on his deathbed. I think he might have been 98 or 99. I don't know if he hit 100, but he was on his deathbed, and the big Louisville Courier, whatever paper that was, did a huge front page story on Austin Gallahue, and it shared the story of his upbringing and being friends with Abraham Lincoln, his children, the whole pond, saving Lincoln from drowning in a pond. So it confirmed. So anyway, circling back to how I met my cousin, wasn't that a TV show, How I Met My Mother? Circling back, I posted this newspaper article, I like screen captured it, put it on my Facebook page. And I think my mom shared it. My mom was Facebook friends with one of my cousins, Brock, like his grandma or his mom. They sent me a friend request, and then I started posting about baseball cards. And so Brock's mom, Jill, my cousin Jill, said, "Oh my God, my son lives near you and he collects cards." So then Brock and I became Facebook friends, but we never like connected. And he came out to the show for the first time this weekend, and he was actually talking to my friend Mark, who sets up at the show. And he's like, "Oh yeah, that's him right there." And so Mark's like, "Did you just meet a cousin for the first time?" And I'm like, "Yes, but I actually knew he existed this time." So it was awesome to meet Brock. Zach says, "Thank you. Yes, he is basically an adult. I will share that with mom too." Let's see. Ryan was great. Sounds like a fun time. Big Stank was a fun YouTuber at one time and an author of a book. Oh, very cool. The Brajcast. Yes. Chris from the Brajcast. Abraham, there he is. What's up? Good morning to you. That guy's art is awesome. Great meeting Rippin' One-Handed too. We bought a few cards from him. Very nice. And I know Scott, my buddy Scott, actually bought some of his bulk boxes from Ryan. So that's awesome. It was a packed day. It was a great turnout. I loved the. We've always had, and I think even from the start, when it was a small show, we had great diversity among what was being offered by dealers, from vintage to ultra modern. I don't think anybody can complain, and anybody that's in here, Zach, Abraham, Victor, Herman, might agree. And I don't, because sometimes when you go to card shows and it's like it's all ultra modern slabs, mosaic, prism, or I know some of the East Coast shows are heavily vintage only. And so I think this show has a lot of diversity among what's being offered. I have a good turnout of Pokemon dealers, which, the first few shows, I don't think anybody had Pokemon unless it was like a retail booster box, blaster box, whatever those are. But I think there's a good mix of ultra modern slabs, vintage, Pokemon. And then there's some niche stuff. Like Kurt had a great table with vintage and tickets. And every once in a while we'll get some Vincent, and Vincent has some cool like memorabilia stuff, or it's like starting lineups and just random stuff like that. There's bargain boxes, so there's a little bit for everything. So I think I don't think there's an oversaturation of any one thing, thing being a loose term, I guess. But Diego says, "Sounds like everyone had a good time." Dan, congratulations. His team won the softball. We were talking about that on Friday night. Friday night here in the States. Michael said, "I noticed a ton of interaction in the show video. Wasn't groups of people walking around. Good sign. That's how shows used to be for me." I want to touch on that. I want to stop there in the chat, touch on that, because I had a first time dealer who is friends with one of my regular guys who normally sets up, but he wasn't able to make the show at the start. So his buddy jumped in and runs a lot of like trade nights. And he's like, the show was great because there was a lot of like, for them, they like the wheeling and dealing, the trading of the slabs and all that stuff. And that's not what I do, but I understand there's a need. There's not a need's probably a poor term, but some collectors like that. And, some collectors like vintage only, and I know there's different pockets of collectors that like different things. But what's cool was he's like, there was a lot of, it fits up him. So we started talking about doing a trade night after the show. He's like, there was a lot of deals, there was a lot of trades. And he's like, have you ever thought of doing a trade night? And I said, no. I said, it's crossed my mind. I've had people talk about it, but it's just not my thing. And I've never really thought of doing a trade night because I don't do trade nights. So, but I would be open to teaming up and, you could, like a sponsorship deal, you sponsor the trade night and run everything, because I don't know the first thing about running a trade night. I don't know what all it entails. I wouldn't know it'd be interesting for me just to be like a casual observer and see how they work, just because, I think it's important for card show promoters to have, dip their toes in every little puddle. So that may be coming to a show in the future, doing a trade night. So that was good to hear that, bouncing off Michael's comment about interaction, there was interaction and it used to be. What's great to see is the early shows, the first couple months of the Madison Card Show last April, May, June, I had dealers packing up early. By noon, the show was dead. And by 1 o'clock, dealers are starting to leave. And then all of a sudden, it's like now dealers are starting to stay until the end, which that's what you want. And because dealers are staying till the end and people are still coming in, there's still deals being made. But so after the show ended, I went downstairs, and Zach and Porter were down there. Herman was down there, so I joined them, and we sat there and talked, ordered some food, ate. When I went back upstairs to grab the signs and just do a sweep of the room, I still had like 6 or 8 guys in the room doing deals. And this is almost going on 5 o'clock, 2 hours after the show ended. And it's like, hey, this is great. And so I get dealers ask me, do we have to be out of the room at 3? And it's almost like trickling like later and later. And I said, that's what they tell me. But hey, my thing is, don't ask, what is it? Don't ask permission, ask for forgiveness, or whatever that is. It's like, you're good until somebody from the hotel comes in and says, we got to leave. That's kind of how I operate. It's like, you're good. Stick around until somebody says, you've got to get out of here, which I don't think, there hasn't been any events following the show. There could be in the future, but, for now it's like, they start moving tables around. There's 67 tables. If you're only at 1 or 2, I think you're good for a little bit more time. So stick around until they kick you out. I'm not going to kick you out, but the hotel might. So obey their orders. Herman says price range at the show was 10 cents to $10,000. Actually, 50,000. If you walked in and the coolest vendor, I shouldn't say that. Not the coolest showcase, not the coolest vendor. The coolest showcase. You walk into the downstairs ballroom, and I didn't plan this. Okay, so his showcase had over 200 grand sticker price, but there were a couple items in there, $50,000 on the sticker, like Babe Ruth autographs, Jackie Robinson autographs, so some really high end stuff. So that was a late addition. I had some late cancels, so he was on the waiting list. That usually it's the people that get on the waiting list kind of late in the game. That's the best opportunity to get them into the show. So they came in from Chicago. They're like, yeah, I was able to get them in on Friday. So they came up and had this banger of a showcase. And I just happened to put them at the very front of the downstairs ballroom. And I kind of did that because they just wanted a table. They were basically there to buy. They had the flashy showcase. They would sell the cards inside, but they were mainly there to buy, and that was to draw people in and get some deals. By the way, I'll speak to that. So it was kind of by design because they're like, we just want a table. Like we just doesn't matter. Small table in the corner doesn't matter. We just want a table. So I had a good spot. The coolest thing that came through, I was talking to his name was Phil. Phil tells me he's like the coolest thing that came through. A 1986 Fleer basketball complete set. Okay, it's like, oh, well, that's pretty common. Autographed every single card, 1986 Fleer basketball, autographed. Unfortunately, not everything was authenticated. The Jordan rookie card, autographed, was authenticated. All of the other cards not authenticated. So, I think the issue there would be now I've got to get things authenticated. And what if they come back, not authentic? So that would be a jam. Amazing collection. 1986 Fleer basketball, complete set, all signed. Amazing. Kevin says had a great time. Awesome show. Hope to come up again, but I will skip the Cubs game. I'm sorry. What a brutal game. Kevin went to Milwaukee, saw the Brewers beat up the Cubs. So that was unfortunate, but I'm glad you had a good time. It was great meeting you, and we will get you an Alec Distasso to complete that 69 set. I will be on the lookout for an Alec Distasso autograph on that 69 Topps card. Michael said, keep an eye out on hot MLB players. Taylor Ward. Yeah, I've kind of lost track here over the last several days. And I've been in Bowman heaven lately. I've opened 22 of my 27 blasters. I'm gonna do a review. I don't want to keep going on all these tangents, so I'll probably do a Bowman review tomorrow. I'll finish ripping the last 5 blasters I have. But I've killed the odds. I've crushed the odds. So I will share all of that in tomorrow's Hobby Evolution. Michael mentioned CJ Crone and Ty France. Abraham says, yes, always a great mix. I got new stuff and old, including art cards from Big Stank. Lauren got an oversized Pokemon card and a sticker. Awesome. Victor says it was a great drive. Scotty's with us. What's up, Scott? Good to have you. Great to see you. Thanks for taking some Cubs cards to sort. Victor says trade nights are big. I'd be interested in any info on doing a trade night if you want to share when you find out. Definitely. We're going to have a chat here probably in the next week to talk about things. Scott says, I think there were several first timers because I overheard many people asking others if there is an admission fee and where the rooms were. And I want to stop there because while it was a great show, in my opinion, there's always things to improve upon. And I don't think any show is there's always going to be a complaint about every show. And it doesn't matter if it's from a dealer's end or a buyer's end. The downstairs room is right next to the indoor pool. It was really hot. I've had issues with temperatures in the rooms almost since day one. It's the heating and cooling system is not great. And so in the summertime, the upstairs ballroom gets extremely cold, very cold. But the downstairs is warm. And vice versa. In the winter, it's really hot upstairs and it's cold downstairs. I try to work things out, and it's unfortunate. But it's a work in progress. It's going to take both sides to figure out. It might not be something that can be adjusted. So that's definitely out of my hands, but I'm working on trying to alleviate, some of those temperature issues. But signage is a big thing, and that's definitely something I can control. And I really kind of dropped the ball on proper signage especially in that back room, because the two ballrooms that are in the downstairs, which is the main floor, the first floor, they're in the back, so you can't see them from the entrance walking in. Especially the ballroom that we've used downstairs. It's kind of in the back corner, tucked away. Now, next month, actually this month, it's already May 2nd. The State Street Ballroom is on the other side. So if you're familiar with the back parking lot, there, and it even says State Street Ballroom in the back. There's like an entrance that goes straight into that room. So that's the third room we'll be using in May. But my wife's going to help me out because she has the designer's eye with all that. So we're going to go in this week and do some better signage. And I'm going to try to come up with something that I can promote those rooms better. And I've got to work through that. So if anybody has any, especially if you were there, any tips on how to improve the flow of, getting through, and maybe, in like free admission, on the sign walking in at the entrance. But yeah, I definitely need to, especially now, moving to 3 rooms later this month. It's more signage is a must, no doubt about it. So those are some things that definitely need work and improved on. Let's see. 3B says, and also going off that, there's even, you can have the best signage. People don't read. I gave the example of me walking into the window at Panera Bread. There can be big block letters on the door that says push, not pull, push, and people are pulling, vice versa, pull, and you try pushing. How come this door's locked? Hey, the door's locked. Oh, I got to pull it. I'm guilty of not paying attention to my surroundings and in reading the signs. So there's still going to be that, but the more signs, the better, and at least it will, eliminate some of the confusion. It's easier to ask for forgiveness than ask for permission. There you go. Thank you. Victor says, I was still digging through boxes after the show. I love that. That's the sign of a healthy show, in my opinion. Let's see. Zach says 5 minutes behind. Great variety. I could find stuff, and so could P. That's great. I forgot to ask, what was your final total of vendors? So it was probably 112 tables, I think, because I had 8 empty tables, so I think 112. And aiming for 150. It's unfortunate because if there's anybody watching that was on the waiting list, and I had one of my dealers. He was a first-time dealer. He was in the Williamson Ballroom, and there were, several open tables, empty tables in that room. And he said, I had a bunch of people say I was told that there wasn't any space and I couldn't get a table, but I see empty tables. So then, it comes back on, are they trying to keep me out of the show? It's like, no, it's hard. So, I think that I think, and I was talking to, several of my dealers at the show also promote shows themselves. And I was talking with them, what can I do to alleviate the late cancels? Because if I take a cancel on, especially on Saturday morning, I don't have any time to reach out because I'm, finishing the setup. If there's, I'm getting all of the other dealers set up, I just don't have time to fill those spots. So, I was talking with some other show promoters on one tip was oversell, which I had done in the past, and it always worked out. And I think there were 1 or 2 shows where I oversold and it worked out perfectly, and every spot was taken. There wasn't any, it wasn't oversold and it wasn't undersold. And I understand that the more and more tables and vendors there are, the more, late cancels that there may be. And I'm going to have to track that better. And my wife and I were actually talking about this last night. She was giving me some ideas utilizing the website, MadisonCardShow.com. which I need to do a better job at keeping that updated and current and all that stuff, which I'm going to tackle later today. So utilize that and build a mailing list, not a mail, like an email list. So some of those, and that's a good problem to have. So we'll go from there. Thanks for the tip on Bowman. I bought one blaster, listed all the cards on Friday, and I'm already ahead after 12 card sales. It's a fun product to rip, especially when you make your money back. Heck yeah. Awesome. Good morning, Dan. Dan, I don't know if you missed it a little bit ago, but I'm gonna do a kind of a deep dive on Bowman tomorrow, because I've got 5 more blasters to rip. So I'm gonna do a deep dive tomorrow, and talk about my experience with 2022 Bowman. In fact, I think after I hit the end stream button here this morning, I'm going to go turn on Jim Cramer and rip the final 5 blasters just to get it done. Then I'll tackle my shipping. Victor says he'll definitely return, planning for June. I love that. I love that. Also moving forward, speaking of that, so my May show this month, May 28th, it's the Saturday of Memorial Day weekend. That'll be the big show, 150 tables, 3 ballrooms, upstairs, the main ballroom and the mezzanine, the Williamson ballroom, which is where the second room was this past weekend, and then the third room on the other side on the first floor, the State Street ballroom, 150 tables. It's filling up fast. Can't wait for that. May 28th, Saturday of Memorial Day weekend. So if anybody can make the trip, across the street is Bratfest, which is as good as it sounds. Brats, I think you can get brats for as low as $1. They've got live music all day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday into the night. Saturday is like country day. They have like each day is kind of its own genre. So you've got Bucky Covington and Joe Nichols performing on Saturday. Bucky Covington actually, I think, is on stage right around the time the Madison Card Show ends. And then Joe Nichols is the primetime entertainment. I think he's on stage at 7 p.m. That's Saturday night. And then if you're into rock music, I know Queensryche is on stage on Sunday night. And then there's some other hard rock bands on Sunday. So that's Memorial Day weekend, Bratfest, right across the street on John Nolan Drive at the Alliant Energy Center, on the outdoor grounds of the Alliant Energy Center, right across the street from the Sheraton Hotel on John Nolan Drive in Madison, Wisconsin. And then June will probably be, I'll probably go back to see the difficult thing is in the summer months, shows are kind of down because there's other activities going on. And for me, I can't. That third ballroom, the State Street ballroom, is usually reserved for weddings in the summer months. So I'll probably plan on doing a 3-room show. I'll do May and then maybe another one in, say, probably October. September will be tough because unfortunately that's the same weekend as University of Wisconsin homecoming, which was not on the schedule when I laid out my card show schedule, because if I would have seen that on the schedule, I would have avoided that weekend, but possibly October. Let's see. Robert, good morning to you. John is with us. That 70s Card Show. Sell Madison Card Show hoodies in the ballroom. Hey, that's a great idea. That's actually a really good idea. In the summer months, it's like, hey, I've got hoodies for sale. Buying a hoodie in July. John says, are you able to make announcements over a PA system in the main ballroom? I don't think so, because that was actually something I was looking into on Saturday, because I wanted to make some sort of announcement. I am gonna run that by my content, because I have several things that I need to talk about with my contact at the hotel. I have Post-it notes. There they are. So yes, so that was something I wanted to bring up. PA. I don't think there is, but it's definitely worth asking if there's an available. You would think there would be some type of AV equipment that's available in that room, and it might be an upcharge. We'll see. Michael says I have to prepay for shows here. A new vendor should have to prepay. That's yes, and that's another thing that I actually had a vendor cancel a couple tables on me this week, and wants even more tables at the next show. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to reserve that many tables unless you prepay. So that's definitely something that I am considering and will probably do that. Dan says, my idea is to partner with the hospitality program at your local community college and see if you can set up an internship for events and management. That's a great idea. This is a university town. Scott says, when I'm talking to others here in Iowa and they ask if I know my way around Madison or know how to get to a specific location, I tell them I can get to the Sheraton Hotel, and that is it. And hey, if anybody asks from Iowa how to get downtown, just say you can guide them to John Nolan Drive, and then just take John Nolan Drive all the way into downtown, and that'll take you straight into downtown. John says, not the real Queensryche. They splintered apart years ago. I was not aware of that. It's whoever the current edition of Queensryche is. They will be on stage at Bratfest. In fact, now that you mention it, May 28th is the Madison Card Show, which is right across the street from Bratfest. It's the world's largest Bratfest. The world's largest Bratfest. Can you believe that? They've been in business for 40 years. So let's see. Music-wise, and I say this because I've got John in here. He's a music guy. So Queensryche, whoever. Let's do the. Here's the Bratfest. Oh, this is just the Sunday link. Fest. So this is the website. So if you're, I keep talking about Bratfest. So Sunday, let's see, Sunday, just names that I've heard of. These are The Rock, and I think that's the link I posted was to the Sunday schedule. Saving Abel, I've heard of them. Boba Flex, I've heard of them. And Queensryche. And it even names the band members. Todd Latore, Michael Wilton, Mike Stone, Eddie Jackson, and Casey Grillo. And I don't know who of those guys are the original, but that's the Queensryche lineup. So Bratfest across the street from the May 28th Madison Card Show. Boomslang, what's up? David is with us. Good morning. Boss Man keeps calling, so I'm getting behind. John says most likely distributed speakers recessed in the ceiling. Mic jacks probably throughout the room in different areas. Sweet. I should have been waiting and came this month. Zach says, classic Bo. Any way to get in front of a microphone, he'll be calling play-by-play throughout the day. John adds in, his bachelor party was previously the largest Bratfest. 2 original members. Okay, cool. So there you go. They'd be honored we're even talking about Queensryche. Promoting Queensryche. So what else? I don't know if I'm missing. I didn't write anything down, which is so what did I buy? I did pick up a bunch of Cubs cards. So thank you to everybody that gave me some cards, gave me some Cubs. I did buy. I only bought one thing. I didn't even really look around. Like I casually looked at tables, but I didn't dig through bargain boxes. But I did buy a bulk box, and I shared the picture on Twitter. I bought a 5-row box. It's my buddy John from Indiana. He came up and he was a dealer. He's always set up at the Rockford show, so I always get stuff from Rockford. He's set up here a couple times now, so he brought a big box for me. So I got my $60 bulk box. This one had some autographs and relics. So I'll be digging through that. And so you're like, me and Herman were just hanging out on Saturday night watching the Braves game and just shooting the bull. And I opened a couple Bowman blasters, and it's like, and Herman mentioned it yesterday on Twitter, we could have done that video on Saturday night. Why didn't we? Well, I left it at the hotel. So Herman and I are coming back from the show. We're driving down the Beltline. It's raining. And you know how people drive in the rain. it can create some accidents. There were a couple big accidents on the belt line. Fortunately, it was on the other side. So I get back to the house, and I think it was in my. I have a text chat with a couple guys, and one of them asked, "What did you buy?" And then it dawned on me: the only thing I bought is still sitting on the floor in the ballroom upstairs at the Sheraton Hotel on John Nolan Drive. Ah, crap. And but it's like the belt line was so backed up, and that's like the only way, the quickest way to get there. I was beat to heck from walking up and down all over. I'm not used to I'm not in card show shape, standing and walking. So I'm like, I'm beat. I don't want to go back. So I called the hotel and I'm like, hey, I left a box. It has my name on the top. It's on the floor against the wall in the main ballroom. So the guy went up, checked. He's like, yep, I found it. I'll put it in the office. I'm like, good. I'll be there tomorrow to pick it up. So that's why Herman and I could have dug through that on Saturday night, but and I even, because I left stuff in like multiple places throughout the hotel, and I knew I was going to forget something. Sure enough, I did. So this week at some point, I've got a bunch of shipping to catch up on, of course. So at some point, I will do a live break, a live bulk box dig. It's going to be long form. If you're watching this show still 41 minutes in, you'll be okay. I know I get some complaints because people have short attention spans and can't watch long form content, listen to long form content. I get it, but I like it. And I like digging through these bulk boxes. And if you don't like it, don't watch it. That's what I like to say. If you don't like it, don't watch it. But I want you to. But if you don't want to, that's okay too. So I'll do some long form, dig through the bulk box, and I'll do it live here so we can chat and talk about the cards inside. Herman loves some brats. Herman had some brats on Friday. I'll let him share his thoughts on his brats and his cheese and his spotted cow on his show tonight. So Herman's gonna talk about his experience not only at the Madison Card Show but in Wisconsin. So check out 3B Collections channel tonight, 7 p.m. Central. Herman and Kin on Personal Rips and Hobby Chat. And by the way, subscribe to the channel, 3B Collection. We've got to get him to 200 subscribers. He's almost there. TD asks a question: do you upgrade your vintage slabs when you get a chance? I don't. I actually prefer beat up. I shouldn't use bangers, are like cool cards. I think that's the new school slang. I like beaters because it shows, because I'm cheap. I'm a quantity guy over quality typically. So when I buy my pre-war and my vintage, I like character, and I think when it's really beat up, it shows that age and that character. It looks more authentic to me, like a perfect. John says I'm on Team Beater as well. There's just something about a mint vintage card that just doesn't look right. It doesn't look vintage. It looks to me, a mint vintage or pre-war, it looks fake. And because there's so many fakes out there. But if you have something that has a little paper loss or some banged up corners, like that looks real. That looks like it's been loved, and that looks like it's 120 years old. So I like beaters, and I do not upgrade. In fact, if I just came across something, or if I got a good price on a higher end slab, I would probably sell it to downgrade so I could buy, say I have a PSA 5 T206 card. I would probably sell that to buy 3 PSA 1, and actually I should say SGC, because I don't like vintage PSA slabs. I like vintage in SGC slabs. So I would downgrade. I would sell it at SGC 5 and buy 3 or 4 SGC 1.5s or something like that. So I would probably downgrade my vintage slabs. John says my last show went 70 plus minutes. Great stuff to stored cards. I'm gonna have to check that out because I don't think I've seen your latest video, so I will turn that on. Um, Boomslang says I was at the grand opening of the Past is a live card shop this past Saturday and Sunday, Greensburg, PA. Very cool. Michael Rathburn, I used to work for a guy who used to say, if you don't like it here, we have a door in the front and in the back. I love it. John says, best shows are unscripted, like Bo's and Herman's. I appreciate that. There's a story behind every nook and cranny. Victor says, I will post on Twitter later the only slab I own. I am not a fan of slabs. I'm not a fan of slabs, although I am. The only slabs I like are the pre-war because I will only be for authentication purposes. And I would say I like especially when it comes to like T206, T205. I think they look better in slabs because they're smaller, and I don't like mini cards. I don't like the Ginter minis. So I think the minis in a slab just work better for me. But modern stuff, I don't like slabs. If there's a slab bargain box and I can get some Cub slabs for like $5 or a decent one for 10, I'll probably spring for it. But generally speaking, if I see, especially if I'm at a card show and I see a bunch of slabs, and it's modern, I walk away. If it's vintage, if I see some tobacco cards or some older stuff, then I'll stop and look regardless. But if it's modern, I'm not gonna pay any attention. Boomslang says I streamed it for over 6 hours. And Corey from his YouTube channel, Mining for Mondesi. Very nice. Let's see. My LCS has a few T206 Tinkers. He's trying to sell them to me. Very nice. I've kind of started a side PC of Joe Tinker because I bought like 3 Joe Tinkers at the National last year. I bought a T205 raw that I'll submit to SGC. And then I bought a T206. I might have bought 4. I bought a T202. And then I bought, I don't even know what it is. But it's another, and then, so then I caught the fever and I bought it's not a Cubs card because it's a Federal League card, a Cracker Jack Joe Tinker. So I've kind of started a side Joe Tinker PC. Speaking of, something reminded me here in the chat. Oh, it was Boomslang. Mickey said I streamed it for over 6 hours. So I'm going to drop this little tease here. A conversation I had at the Madison Card Show this past Saturday with one of my dealer friends and I talked about that collection that I passed on. He also went to look at it, and we got to talking, and we have discussions of going in and splitting it, buying the collection together. And the plan would be, and actually this was an idea that I thought of on the drive home from the airport yesterday. I was actually driving back, and I was thinking about that you know how you're driving and you're reflecting on the weekend. I was thinking back to that conversation, and I started developing some ideas. I get to a stoplight and I text John's name and I said, I've got a great idea about that collection. When I get home, I'm going to text you the details of my thoughts. So the thoughts, we go in, we split the collection 50-50 monetarily. We pull some cards because he has and the reason I think this will work is because he wants different things in the collection than I want. He's more of the vintage 70s and 80s stuff. I'm more interested in this collection. I'm more interested in some of the more modern 90s and 2000s stuff. So my thought process was we split it. We set aside like our top 25 cards, in similar value. Okay, these are the cards that we each take. What's left over, we do a draft. And so we flip a coin for first pick. And John gets first pick. And whatever's left out of our top 25 are keepers. John takes this card. It's a Patrick Mahomes rookie relic. And then I get the second pick and I take this Michael Jordan beam team. And we just go back and forth. And then I know there's a lot of kind of like junk boxes. We'll make sure it's, we'll sort through it thoroughly, make sure it's, there's no bigger value cards in there. And then we can just go box by box. You want this box, I want that box. So he loved the idea. The only now the thing we're talking about is we need to go back and make sure the value is there. And I know the value is there. And the reason that I abstained from buying the collection was it's a big upfront cost. There's a lot of like $20 to $50 cards, but for the price point that it's going to cost, it's going to take a while to get to break even. So that was my concerns. But I think if you split it in half, I think that's a low enough price point, but still, you're making your money back quicker. You're getting to that break even point. So that's the discussion. So now the next step, he said he's 99% in. The issue is we've kind of come on a price to offer, but we want to make sure what's in it. So we want to set up a time to go over to view the collection a second time together, and then kind of break down what's in there, get comps on a lot of the stuff, so we can present a fair offer that's fair for them and fair for us to make some money off of it. So stay tuned. Oh! But the best part of all this is John has a consignment shop nearby, and I don't want to. It's called Cards in the Attic, and it's not the same Cards in the Attic that's on Twitter. It's a different one. But he has a consignment shop near Madison. I think it's in. I don't want to say the city because I might be wrong. But it's near Madison. So the idea, if we do this, if it works out, we present the offer, it's accepted. Then we go back to his shop and we stream this live on YouTube. We stream the draft on YouTube. So you will get to follow along what's all in the collection and what we draft, how we carry it out. I'll do it on StreamYard because I want to, I'm like, hey, I've got StreamYard so I can put your logo, your banner, so I can advertise the shop. Of course, I'll put my eBay store link in there as well, so we can advertise that and put it on YouTube. So that's the plan. I probably shouldn't even talk about this and tease this because it sounds so fun, at least to me. It may not sound fun to you, but it sounds like a blast to me. And I think John agrees. So John, that I would go into the deal with. So that's the plan. So we're reaching out to the owners of the collection. I'm pretty sure because we had great conversations, communication. I did with because they actually found me through the Madison Card Show Facebook ad. And I mentioned, I said, I am interested. So before you sell it, I would like a chance to either offer some, make an offer or decline before you accept any other offers. And they were okay with that. They were cool with that. So that's what's going through. That's what's, going through my head. And now that I've spilled the beans and I've shared the plan, I will keep you posted on, if it's still available. Maybe they did sell it. Or maybe they decided to keep it for a while and see what happens. But I will now that I've shared the plan, I will keep you posted on every step of the way of how we do this, and maybe I'll do a series leading up to if it goes through the live draft. D Pyres, what's up? Love card drafts. I only done one previous time, and it was probably the first like bulk buy that I ever did. It was when I first got back into cards heavier in 2012, which it was pretty much what led to what you see behind me. Because my friend Dave, who actually will be going to the National together, Um, he was at an antique shop. He wanted to say, and I think I've shared this story, but I'll share it again for those that may have not heard it. He goes to this antique shop that's a few miles from where where I was living at the time, where he still lives, and he said they got a bunch of cards at the antique mall. So we go and check it out. There's a complete set of like 96 tops or some set like that. It was a 90s set, and it had $25 on the price tag. He's like, I don't have this set, so I'm going to offer him 20, and I don't want to pay 25. So they had a whole table of like unopened wax, complete sets, singles. There were uncut sheets, a little bit of everything. He offered the guy $20, and the guy declined. The guy declined over $5, like $20 on a $25 set. Okay, it gets worse. It gets better, I should say. It gets better for us. So Dave's like, I'm not going to pay 25. I'll do 20. He's like, nope, I can't do 20. He goes, but I'll sell you the whole table for 200. And so we look at each other, and it's like, Dave's like, I just want this set. I don't want the rest of the stuff. And I'm like, I want the rest of the stuff. I'm like, that's only $100 each. Let's just split it. And he had a truck. Let's just $100 each. And we took it back to my house. And basically we did that. We did a keeper. It's like, okay, you want that set. I want this, whatever it was. The rest will just go back and forth and start picking. So we did kind of a draft like that. So because the owner didn't want to come down $5 on a set, we got the whole shebang for 200, which was a hell of a good deal. Herman said, on a side note, in case y'all are wondering, that room behind Bo isn't as big as you would think, but his rec room is spot on. Yeah, I guess you could probably, it's probably, this room is only like 12 by 10. It's kind of an optical illusion. Herman said, I wondered about that to start with. LOL. I'm glad it wasn't the same guy. That'd be cool to watch. Talking about the draft. I'm going to check out a collection today. It looks like around 1 million plus cards, says 70 to 09. Good luck with that. Please post that on YouTube. I will be interested in watching that video. That sounds like fun. Herman's looking for some 72 high numbers. LOL, deal at 200. So going on 1 hour, I'm going to wrap it up again to Herman, Zach, Porter, Victor, Kevin, Abraham, and Scott, and everybody else watching that attended the Madison Card Show. Thank you so much for coming out. Hope to see many of you in May 28th. It's the Saturday of Memorial Day weekend. And of course, Bratfest is across the street. So have a late lunch, early dinner, listen to some live music, eat some brats, drink some beer. Saturday, May 28th, Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive, Madison Card Show. 150 tables at the May show. So looking forward to that. Again, 3B Collections channel. Check him out. I think pretty much everybody in the chat, by the way, has YouTube channels with great content. So when you're looking at the chat, please subscribe to all of their channels because they provide some awesome content. So check all those guys out. Again, 3B Collection tonight, 7 p.m. Central. He'll be reviewing the Madison Card Show. 7 p.m. with Ken, Bean's B Card Blog. 7 p.m. Central tonight. I'll be back on tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. I will be reviewing my Bowman results. By tomorrow morning, I will have opened 27 blaster boxes, and I'll share my results, good or bad, good and bad. So that'll be tomorrow morning, Hobby Evolution Bowman review, and then maybe Wednesday night or Thursday night, whatever my evening schedule looks like this week. I'll go live to dig through the $60 bulk box that I bought. So that's the plan for this week. By the way, I think Sunday is Mother's Day, so I plan on visiting my mom this weekend. So I'll be live on Saturday morning, but I will not go live on Mother's Day Sunday as I'll be out of town spending time with mom. So no show on Sunday. Have a great Monday, and I'll see you in the chat room tonight on 3B Collections channel, and I'll be back on live tomorrow morning for Hobby Evolution, 7 a.m. Central. Hit the like button, please subscribe, and have a great Monday.